Linnell here. Thanks for tuning in. I want to attempt to do a brief commentary on natural law. A couple years ago, when I ran for county chair of the local party, I referenced, of course, our state party platform as being the glue that keeps us together. We make our decisions based on that. And the reason that I love the party platform, at least at that time, I hope it continues to be good as it changes. The reason I love the party platform is because I believe it matches natural law. That is, it matches the 10 Commandments, especially commands 6 through 10, which really help a society to live peaceably with one another. So, do not murder, do not commit adultery, that is, uphold family values. Do not steal, do not give false testimony. And you know what? If we don't even covet, we're going to do a pretty good job at those others beyond that. So, I love natural law. And you should too. It upholds the rights of every individual, such that when one individual's right to life, liberty, or property is harmed, then it is the government's job to step in and punish it. I know this is a high-level, simplistic view, but is in essence foundational to our nation's law. Now, all laws that preserve freedom and individual liberties are based on natural law. A very quoted person during the time of our nation's founding was Sir William Blackstone, and he said, in reference to natural law, that no other law that man makes is of any validity if it violates natural law. So again, he writes, in reference to natural law, no human laws are of any validity if contrary to this. Now, just a little side note, in that we do have social compact law, which is people organizing together to decide for the safety and organization of society. A very simple example would be, say, speed limits or traffic law. That's needed. I'm a big fan of stop signs and stoplights. It's absolutely needed. I would not want to live in a society without that. That would be terrifying. That is different than moral law. But if those social compact laws were to violate natural law, then that social compact law would be of no validity. For instance, if the law were, this is going to hit home, say, hey, you know what, theft is okay. As long as it's under a certain amount, go ahead and do it, because we don't have the funds to prosecute, or the will or the desire or the manpower to prosecute that. You know what, that's still wrong. Theft is still wrong. So any law that violates natural law is not valid. That was a foundational concept for our laws in the first place. The founders did reference the Bible quite often. I've read that the Bible was the most referenced book during the founding era. I want to read a quote by John Quincy Adams in reference to natural law. He says, the law given from Sinai, that's the 10 Commandments, the law given from Sinai contained many statutes of universal application, laws essential to the existence of men in society, and most of which have been acted by every action which ever professed any code of laws. My simple way of saying that, and my interpretation of that, is throughout time, throughout the globe, people with civil societies have basically agreed with: do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not lie. It's a moral code written on our hearts. And the great thing is, it upholds the right of every individual. You have the free will to do what you want to do, so long as it doesn't violate another person's right to life or to property. Throughout American history, natural law was referenced again. It's foundational. And if you look at our government buildings, particularly in DC, you see Moses and the Ten Commandments depicted again and again in the artwork and carvings in the buildings. Fast forward to Kansas native Dwight D. Eisenhower, who made "In God We Trust" our national motto. He said, "Without God, there could be no American form of government nor an American way of life. Recognition of the Supreme Being is first, the most basic expression of Americanism. Thus, the Founding Fathers saw it, and thus, with God's help, it will continue to be." And at that time, in the 1950s, it didn't cause controversy because most people agreed with it. I think today it would cause controversy. Absolutely. But keep in mind during that time too, when he was running for president, both the Democrats and Republicans wanted him to be their nominee. He was a war hero in World War II, and then our president with many, many accomplishments. He understood, as did our founding fathers, that natural rights come from God and that government can't take them away. We can't forget that. Now let's fast forward to JFK in his inaugural address, 1961. John F. Kennedy says, "The same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe. The belief that the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God." And I would add, as many people have, if the natural rights came from the state could take it away. They do not. Those rights come from God, and thus the state cannot take it away. For example, consider the account in the Bible of King Ahab and Naboth's vineyard. King Ahab wanted Naboth's vineyard, but Naboth did not want to sell, despite the price or alternative land offered to him by the king. So the king had Naboth killed, murdered, so that then the king could take Naboth's vineyard. But God punished King Ahab by killing him and all his family. So even private property by theft of government is wrong. And we need to remember that in all our policy. Okay, sorry for that little tangent. Now today I did read something very encouraging. In Louisiana, Governor Jeff Landry signed a first-in-the-nation bill requiring schools to display the Ten Commandments. Under the new law, all classrooms, kindergarten through state-funded universities, will be required to have a poster-sized display of the commandments. Which again, the Ten Commandments uphold the rights of every individual. They don't pick winners and losers. They say the most important minority is the individual, every individual, rich, poor, powerful, weak. Every individual is protected under natural law. And so it's so important that we preserve this. Now, I fully recognize society flourishes when we uphold the rights of every individual. It's fair that not everybody watching this is a Christian. If that's the case, I thank you for watching it anyway. What I want to message that I want to get across is simply that under natural law, the individual flourishes because their individual rights are protected, because they are God-given rights, whether the individual believes in God or not. And so I want to close by saying, let's do all we can to preserve natural law. It's going to last whether we abide by it or not. But let's abide by it and make sure that our laws fall under its jurisdiction, because that is the way to preserve our form of self-government and maintain liberty for all. Thank you. God bless.